So two of my boys helped me proofread this particular substack. And the comment from one of my boys, the oldest one, was, Mom, they used to burn people at the stake for this sort of thing. So I thought I'd share with you. Okay. Uh, this is about Hagar, but I'm setting up something for you guys a series of studies that I want to continue doing as I work my way through the Bible yet again. Okay, so one day as I was reading the Gospel of John, I came up to this passage. No one has ever seen God. God, the only Son who is at the Father's side, he has made him known. And then there was this one. Not that anyone has seen the Father except he who is from God. He has seen the Father. This particular statement of Jesus stopped me on my tracks. Wait a minute. If this is true, and it has to be, because Jesus said it, then who was it that the people in the Hebrew Bible saw? I flicked back to the Old Testament, and sure enough, there it is in Genesis chapter 18. Abraham talking to God, seeing him. What gives? This apparent contradiction launched me into a year-long search to reconcile this perceived discrepancy. My first theory: this is the pre-incarnate Jesus. After all, Jesus is God, so easy peasy. Well, not so fast. So enter the books of John Walton, who insists that we must first honor the cultural river of the Bible writers before we can start extrapolating meaning from the Bible. In addition to the books of John Walton, there was a series of lectures by Professor Christine Hayes and the book by Miss Carol Mayers, Rediscovering Eve, an Ancient Israelite Woman in Context. These materials have been integral in my search for the truth. If I say the word angel, what comes to your mind? Human-like creatures with magnificent wings? Would it surprise you to know that angels did not get their wings until much later? The word angel, both in the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament, simply mean messenger, one who carries a message, not a supernatural being that comes from heaven. I have come to believe that almost every instance in which the angel of Yahweh shows up, the person interacting with them are interacting not with supernatural beings, but human beings. Not a common human being. They belong to a caste, a priestly prophetic group that had powers given to them by God, that each patrolled a certain area of the promised land, and they were well known by all the inhabitants of the land. In the timeline of the Bible, Abraham speaks to God before Hagar. However, we will skip ahead a little bit and we shall start with humble Hagar, the slave girl. Hagar is given to Sarah as her slave. We are not told when she becomes Sarah's maid, but she is not listed with the people that lived the original home of Abraham. But she shows up after they come out of Egypt, which makes sense since she is an Egyptian slave girl. Once Hagar becomes pregnant with the child of Abraham and Sarah is harsh with her, she runs away. In the wilderness, she meets the messenger of Yahweh. And here is where the wheels comes off the winged creature train. Biblical literature is sparse in details. They assume you know how to think through things, so let's think through this passage together. The messenger finds the slave girl in the wilderness by a body of water. We first should take note that Hagar's reaction. There is no fear, no awe, not dropping to her knees and attempting to worship the messenger. Just a simple statement. I am fleeing from my mistress Sarai. The messenger of Yahweh knows whose servant Hagar is and knows that this is not the place where she should be, which indicates that he knows her. He said, Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going? It is apparent from this interaction that Hagar knows this particular messenger. This messenger is likely also Abraham's messenger, and he has seen the slave girl and knows that she belongs to Sarai, as he clearly states. This would also account for the lack of fear reflected in Hagar's words. You would say to me, yeah, well, of course he knows of course she knows who she is. He is a supernatural being and he has supernatural knowledge. And I would say, why look for the supernatural when common sense will do? Then there's the promise. And the angel of Yahweh said to her, behold, you are pregnant, and you shall bear a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael. Hagar is probably showing already the same reason Sarah was angry at her. The messenger gives her name for the child Ishmael. God hears, and then he prophesies about the boy. None of these things are things that any other prophet in the Bible could not or would not have said. The difference is the simple fact that the cultural river of the world of Genesis is different than the cultural river of Exodus, Judges, Kings, and the prophets. We all have the same problem when it comes to this sort of passages. We come with our own preconceived notions of what the word angel is supposed to represent, when in reality, the passage never really hints to the messenger being other than a human representative on the earth for Yahweh. I understand that one instance is not enough to make theology. This is only the beginning of a journey that I hope we will take together, exploring these passages. Come back as we unpack Abraham and his interactions with God. And as an aside, I'd say, you'd ask, well, why would you even bother doing this? And, all that. I think we have to start demystifying and the Bible. We have a real problem with people saying that they can cast out demons and they can do deliverances and take off curses and all this other stuff. And in reality, all of that stuff, while it is mentioned in the Bible, there is no reason why that needs to be something that we worry about today. And there's certain things like delivering demons and things like that. Those are misunderstanding of the text because they do the lazy reading, the literal reading, instead of doing critical reading of the Bible. And unfortunately, that is not just them. We have a whole country that has lost the ability to do critical thinking, and it shows everywhere. My problem is in our little side of the world is this people, deliverance people, demon casting people, the people that think that they can remove a curse when that is not even a thing in the Bible. They're taking your money. And when they do this, and they do this in the name of Jesus, and they do it in the name of God, they are in fact blaspheming the name of the Lord. That I have a problem with. Anyways, God bless. Come back. I will link the Substack on the comments where you will have the scripture references. There's hyperlinks to the books and the lectures that I mentioned. And, subscribe to the Substack. I don't write as much as I'd like, but I do put on stuff every once in a while, and or subscribe to the channel. That would be helpful. God bless. Have a good day.